Let's get right into it. Number 8. The Teeth Jar Ritual. Scientists found a sealed clay jar buried beneath an abandoned village in northern Romania. At first, they thought it was a container for herbs or medicine, until they realized what was inside wasn't plant matter at all. Inside, they found hundreds of human teeth, all belonging to children. Then came the carvings, strange runes etched into the inside of the lid, visible only when opened. Even stranger, each tooth was coated in a resin containing traces of human blood and ash. Carbon dating confirmed the jar was over 2,400 years old, but to the ancient Dacians, this wasn't just a container. They believed teeth carried fragments of the soul left behind after death. The teeth jar ritual may have been performed to bind restless spirits or to silence the cries of those who died too young. Today, the jar sits sealed again, deep within a museum vault, never displayed to the public. For thousands of years, the teeth have waited, still whispering through the cracks of fired clay. Number 7. The Doorless Coffin. Archaeologists unearthed a massive stone sarcophagus deep beneath a collapsed monastery in southern France. At first, they thought it was a standard medieval burial, until they realized the coffin had no lid, no hinges, and no opening at all. The slab was carved from a single block of limestone, perfectly sealed on every side. When ground-penetrating scans were done, the interior showed the clear outline of a human skeleton, trapped inside solid rock. Even stranger, the stone showed no tool marks, as if the person had simply appeared within it. Geologists confirmed the rock had never been cut or resealed. It was as natural and continuous as any mountain cliff. To the medieval monks of Occitania, such coffins were the mark of divine judgment. They called it La Tombe sans porte, the tomb without a door. It was said to hold those who defied the sacred order, buried not by hands but by heaven itself. Today, the coffin remains untouched in a subterranean vault, its occupant still locked in eternal stone. For nearly 1,000 years, no one has dared to ask who or what sealed them inside. Number 6. The Infant Echo Box. In 1974, restoration workers discovered a small wooden chest sealed inside the walls of an abandoned orphanage in Prague. At first, they thought it was a time capsule left by the caretakers, until they realized the box could speak. Inside, they found a complex system of copper tubing and tiny brass bells, arranged like the lungs and throat of a child. Then came the discovery of a dried umbilical cord coiled around a small music box crank. Even stranger, when the lid was lifted, the air inside produced a faint sound, like a baby's laugh, echoing through a tunnel. Acoustic engineers confirmed the sound wasn't mechanical. The box somehow retained and released frequencies long after being sealed. To the 18th century Bohemians, such creations were known as echo cradles. They believed the final breath of an unbaptized infant could be captured and preserved, granting eternal peace or eternal unrest. Some midwives claimed the box could be used to call back the spirit when the mother refused to let go. Today, the chest sits in a locked archive, wrapped in cloth, because every time it's unwrapped, someone hears it cry again. For centuries, that sound has never changed. It only waits to be heard. Number 5. The Painted Skull of Two Faces. In 1923, a team of explorers recovered a human skull from a flooded cavern beneath Lake Titicaca. At first, they thought it was a ceremonial relic, until they noticed it had two faces. The skull bore two sets of eye sockets, one on each side, fused together at a perfect 180-degree angle. Then came the paint, a spiral of red and black pigments, still visible across the bone despite centuries underwater. Even stranger, microscopic analysis revealed that the pigments were made from human blood mixed with cinnabar. Genetic tests confirmed that the two faces belonged to different individuals, somehow merged into a single skull. To the ancient Tiwanaku people, dual-faced idols represented Janku Chaska, the spirit of the mirrored soul. They believed such fusions occurred when a life was taken at the exact moment another began, two spirits trapped in one vessel. The skulls were painted to keep the balance between life and death from tearing the world apart. Today, the skull remains displayed behind tinted glass, because under bright light, the pigments begin to pulse, like veins remembering their rhythm. For nearly 1,500 years, the two faces have stared in opposite directions, still waiting to agree on which side is alive. Halfway through, and we've already got teeth that whisper, coffins that trap themselves, and skulls that argue with reality. And if you think it can't get stranger, oh, it does. Number 4. The Shadow-Stained Floorboard. In 1986, renovators restoring a 17th-century townhouse in Edinburgh uncovered a section of oak flooring that refused to lift. At first, they thought it was glued down by age, until they realized the wood itself was bleeding darkness. The plank bore the outline of a human figure burned into the grain, perfectly detailed, down to individual fingers. Then came the discovery that no fire or heat source had ever touched it. Even stranger, when exposed to light, the silhouette seemed to deepen, like a shadow feeding on brightness. Spectrographic analysis showed trace elements of carbonized human tissue trapped within the fibers, yet no sign of decay. To local folklore, it marked the site of a silent execution, a punishment never recorded, only whispered. They said when a soul refused to confess, its shadow was nailed to the floor so it could never leave the room. The stain, they believed, was not a burn, but the absence of forgiveness made visible. Today, the board remains in place, covered by glass, because every attempt to move it ends with the same thing. The lights flicker, and a second shadow appears beside whoever tries. For centuries, the darkness has never left that spot. It only waits for company. Number 3. The Gasping Idol. In 1909, miners in northern Burma unearthed a small jade statue sealed inside a pocket of untouched air. At first, they thought it was a simple votive figure, until they heard it breathe. The idol depicts a child-sized human form, with no mouth, only a smooth oval where the lips should be. Then came the discovery that the stone was hollow, its chest expanded and contracted at irregular intervals. Even stranger, when brought to the surface, the figure emitted faint hissing sounds, like someone inhaling through teeth. Acoustic sensors later confirmed a rhythm consistent with respiration, but there were no openings, no mechanisms, no lungs. To the ancient Pew civilization, such idols were called mouths of silence. They believed they were vessels for gods who punished those who spoke forbidden truths, divine entities forever gasping for words they could never say. The idols were buried alive in the earth, so their breath would feed the soil rather than curse the living. Today, the statue is stored inside a vacuum chamber, because when the air pressure rises, its chest moves faster. For over 1,000 years, it has breathed the silence of every place it's been taken. And some say if you press your ear against the glass, you'll hear your own name whispered back. Number 2. The Buried Clockwork Child. In 1957, a farmer in rural Poland uncovered what he thought was a doll buried beneath his field. At first, it looked like a child's toy until it blinked. The body was made of ivory and copper, its joints lined with filigreed gears no larger than grains of sand. Then came the chest cavity, a cage of clockwork that pulsed rhythmically, though no winding mechanism could be found. Even stranger, the gears were not made by any known tool. Each tooth had microscopic carvings resembling human fingerprints. When engineers attempted to disassemble it, the mechanism stopped entirely, only to start again at midnight. Medieval texts from the same region speak of the machina vitae, the machine of life. It was said to be crafted by monks who sought to rebuild the soul of a child lost to plague. But when the machine awoke, it began to whisper prayers in reverse, as if unmaking what had once been made. Today, the clockwork child lies sealed beneath bulletproof glass, its gears still turning after more than 4 centuries. Every year, on the anniversary of its discovery, its eyes open, and for exactly 13 seconds, it breathes. For generations, it has waited underground, listening for something older than time itself to answer. Number 1. The Mother's Last Drawing. In 1999, a folded piece of parchment was discovered sealed behind a wall in an abandoned hospital nursery in Vienna. At first, researchers thought it was just a mother's sketch, until they realized every object in the drawing had already been found. The image showed 8 artifacts arranged in a circle: a jar of teeth, a doorless coffin, a clockwork child, a gasping idol, each drawn with impossible precision centuries before their discovery. Then came the handwriting, names scrawled beneath each object, none legible but one, mine. Even stranger, when the drawing was scanned under ultraviolet light, faint lines appeared connecting the artifacts into a spiral shape, an ancient sigil identical to one carved inside the teeth jar's lid. Carbon dating revealed the paper was older than the hospital itself. In late medieval lore, there was a story of the Mother of Remnants, a woman who dreamt of objects buried in the world's skin. She was said to have drawn them as warnings, not creations. Each item, she claimed, was a vessel for a single broken breath of the same lost soul, pieces scattered across time, waiting to be found again. Today, the parchment is locked away, though its ink continues to darken each year, as if still being drawn by an unseen hand. And in the empty nursery, a faint outline remains on the wall where it was sealed, a small pair of fingerprints, pressed in ash, right where the heart of the drawing used to be. For now, the 8 artifacts rest in silence, spread across museums and vaults around the world. But if the mother was right, when the circle is complete, it won't stay silent for long. You think this was wild? Next time, we're diving into discoveries scientists actually banned from study. Because if this is what the world lets us see, imagine what it's still hiding.